Genuinely the most exciting upcoming MMORPG. Okay,
with the recent news of Amazon's New World being delayed until 2021 and many hungry MMO fans being disappointed by this news, I decided that today I want to talk about the upcoming MMORPG that I personally believe to be the most promising, Ashes of Creation. Before we jump into it though, this video has no sponsor and took me a crazy amount of time to make, both with research, fact-checking and editing. So if you'd like to support my work for free, this game has an affiliate program that everyone who makes an account has access to. My link to this can be found in the description below, and all sign-ups to Ashes of Creation before September receive a small in-game statue for your house to commemorate our struggles through COVID-19. So for those of you that have never heard of the game before, what is Ashes of Creation? Ashes of Creation is a Western-made sandbox MMORPG that's focused on a strong mix of both PvP and PvE content. This game was initially kickstarted 3 years ago, but was already fully funded to completion via private investment from the game's creative director, Stephen Sharif. Unlike many of the Eastern MMOs that have had Western releases over the past few years, Ashes of Creation has consistently said from day one that there will be no pay to win in this game. Due to this, the game will operate with a no box cost subscription fee business model with a cosmetic only cash shop. The thing that makes Ashes of Creation the MMORPG that
cosmetic only cash shop does kind of annoy me, but I will allow it if the game is free, okay? Like, I would prefer to pay for the game and not have any cosmetics on the shop, but I will allow this to happen, okay? It's not free? Well, that's just what they said. They literally just said that. It's a sub fee. I see that it's a no box cost. It says $15 sub fee, but the box cost is, there's no box cost.
Subscription fee business model with a cosmetic only cash shop. The thing that makes Ashes of Creation the MMORPG that I'm personally the most excited for is the sheer scope of the project. This game seems to be combining all the best aspects from all the top MMOs over the past 10 years and combining it into one game, with all of that being tied together by the game's most unique feature, its node system. Throughout the world in Ashes of Creation, there's points of interest on the map called nodes. These nodes are basically areas that can progress to different stages of civilizational development as players kill monsters, quest, gather, and adventure within that node's area of influence.
That's cool. Like, this is actually cool, because it's like they used an example. They're like, what if you mine too much and then you fucking, like, you know, in Lord of the Rings, where it's like they fucking went too deep in the mines of Moria and they released the Balrog, Durin's Bane. And this is the same fucking thing, and they unleash a dragon. That would be fucking cool.
Starting out day one when the game first launches, the world will be pretty empty. BDO, but let's say you and a group of friends all decide to kill mobs and gather in a certain area. Over time you'll be contributing XP to that area's node, and an expedition will appear with quests. As more players are drawn to that area, it will level up into an encampment with more quests, more NPCs, and more opportunity. After that, the node levels up into a village, town, city, and finally a giant sprawling metropolis with more opportunity, world events, and quests appearing at each.
That's some Prince of Persia shit, man. I really like the way this looks. I think this area looks really cool. I'm actually excited for this game. I know that, you know, I like to meme around with shit, but I'm genuinely excited about this game. I'm gonna play it. I talked to that guy Steven, and I'm gonna see if I can get beta keys for you guys, and we can try this out, because I want to. The thing is, like, there's nothing that is the most pure and beautiful experience is being part of something like this at the very beginning. And the reason for that is that there isn't any theory crafting. There isn't any guides for anything. It's just you go into the game and you're part of this fantasy alternate universe, and you just simply exist there. There's no rules, there's no expectations, there's just what is. And there's something that's so fucking good about that. Like, I remember in BDO, it was kind of like that, but it wasn't because the game was in Korea or something a few years before that. But whenever I first started playing the game, you were just making your way in a hostile and unfamiliar world. And it was what was so fucking beautiful about it. I made a whole video about BDO. I loved it so much. It was great.
It was one of the very few videos that you did of other games.
Yeah.
And it still surprised me to this day.
Well, because it was so good. Like, I love that fucking game.
My one question for this game.
Yeah.
Can you make a Ret Paladin?
There's no way you won't be able to. There's no way you won't be able to, man.
But can you? Because that's why I don't play Skyrim. Or ESO.
So there's 64 classes. I think one of them might be something like a Ret Paladin.
Okay.
That was good enough.
Stage of development. Now that's a very simplified explanation of the Ashes of Creation node system, but on top of that there's also a lot of variables within this system. For example, at launch there will be 103 different possible node locations, and the location of that node dictates the quests and world events triggered upon development. At this point you're probably thinking, well, what happens when every node reaches its final stage? Wouldn't that—
That's kind of like what happens, it's like an example of this in WoW is like, remember back in patch 8.1 where like if you'd make the nether disruptor it would spawn the world bosses? Like, that's basically what this is.
Become boring? Well, due to how the system's designed, this isn't possible. In leveling up one node, you lock out the possibility for adjacent nodes to grow to the same size.
Yeah.
To change this and de-level a node so that adjacent nodes can progress, players will need to participate in a PvP node siege to destroy a city, for example, so the town node near to it has room to grow, and different content can then be unlocked.
That's
the way this system is designed intends for long-term player-driven replayability, where each server will have a different history of development and unlocked content. No two servers will be the same. An MMORPG with a true ever-changing world.
So this is something that a lot of developers and like these companies have thought about doing, and it's like none of these are the same, and then there's actually only like 4 different moving parts in this, and it's like which one of the 4 is active right now. And so I worry that it won't happen, but it is it's a good idea. I like the idea a lot. They'll probably be the same. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is like, it seems like it's going to be like this really open-ended thing, but it just gets turned into like through theory crafting and metagaming into like something that's really simple.
Comes to node aesthetics, there will also be a lot of diversity here too, as the node will take on the architectural appearance of the race that contributed the most XP to its development.
That's fucking awesome.
So let's say a guild of orcs went to an area and contributed the most XP to a node, building it up to a town. You've then got a town with an orcish aesthetic. Maybe a guild of dwarves wanted to explore a node in the mountains. They could eventually have their own dwarven city in the mountains. The aesthetic of the node changes at every level of development based on the race that contributes the most XP to the node. On top of all this, each node in the world will be assigned one of 4 possible node types, with each having unique benefits. You've got divine, economic, militaristic, and scientific node types. Advancing a scientific node over an economic node, for example, will give different building options for players to manage in the node.
Well, we're Americans, so we're not going to do that one. But I like having the different types, right? And like you have like the mining nodes and the faith nodes. That's actually pretty fucking cool. Like everything that we're hearing here is really, really good.
Such as libraries, colleges, and artisan buildings, whereas if they leveled up an economic node, they could build markets, stock exchanges, and trade-focused buildings. Each node upon hitting the village stage of development will have a 1-week cooldown before node elections begin. In this, players can try to become the mayor of the node. As a mayor, you get to allocate resources, set the tax rate, and initiate quests to advance the node, as well as choose building projects contained within that node. You
guys had better vote for me. I'm gonna say that right now. Like, if you guys, we gotta have everybody vote for me for every building, man. I'm gonna be like George Soros, and I'll just own everything, and I'll do whatever I want. Okay, I'll be George Soros of the game. This sounds great. I love it.
The mayoral election system is designed is different for each node type. For scientific nodes, it's a popularity contest where you vote another player in. For economic nodes, it goes to the highest bidder. For divine nodes, the player with the most node-related service quests completed will become the mayor, and militaristic node mayors will be decided via a last man standing battle royale type minigame where players interface through a champion rather than their own character. Obviously,
that is fucking wild.
What the fuck, dude?
That is so good, dude.
Holy shit.
That is so fucking, oh my god.
That's a fucking good idea. Holy shit.
Wow. Why? This is the thing, man, is you just get, I told you guys, this shit could happen. Like, this game could actually be good, man. WoW's gonna steal those ideas? I hope so. These are really good ideas.
Bad mayors will be a thing that exists in this game, so every month the election process will happen again so that other players have the chance to challenge for mayor. Other than its node system, Ashes of Creation is also aiming to have a diverse range of content to appeal to pretty much every type of MMORPG player. Let's start with some of the PvP content that will be present in this game.
Okay. What is the PvP content?
PvP content in Ashes consists of open world flagging, caravan PvP, duels, battlegrounds, castle sieges, node sieges, arenas, and guild wars. But before all of you PvE players get scared off at the thought of open world PvP, you'll be happy to know that this game has anti-grief mechanics in the form of its corruption system.
What is this?
When it comes to corruption, players have 3 states. Green, non-combatant; purple, combatant; red, corrupted. I've displayed an image on screen that shows how this system works, but from the point of view of a non-combatant PvE player minding their own business, if another player comes up to you and kills you, they will become corrupted and receive ever-growing penalties the more innocent players they decide to kill. Eventually, corrupted players can drop their items which can be looted by other players, they'll also lose more experience upon death, and also feel dampening in PvP so they become weaker.
What?
They get their ass beat, dude. Little dick ass boys trying to go in there and fuck with everybody, dude. Fuck them. Yeah, fuck them, dude. Dishonorable kills actually matter. Well, this is a good way to do it, right? So it's like, if you're not gonna, if you want to go for a DK, if you're going for the big fucking dishonorable kill, and you see somebody and that bitch makes you mad, and you decide, you know what? Fuck you. And you decide to kill him. That's okay. But you do it all the time, that's a problem. That is really, really good. That's very smart, man. Just like Sword Art Online. I think so. I mean, I'm not really sure exactly. I don't remember exactly everything about that show.
Corruption gained is also greater based on the level disparity, so a high level randomly killing a new low level player really isn't worth it. Additionally, the game will have a bounty system where players with high corruption score will appear on the map for bounty hunters to track down and kill for rewards, and NPC guards will also attack corrupted players on site, limiting their access to services within nodes. The caravan PvP system in Ashes is designed
so it's like you gotta run down the outlaws, man. It's some little dick ass boy that just runs out of there and just fucks them. It means you can level. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I do think that for games like this, at least for like the starting areas, you should just make it to where you can't just like attack people in the starting areas, because if you can, it'll just be a shit show no matter what. But other than that, I think this is a really, really good system. This is a really good system. Go ahead.
I have 2 things. Okay. One is that this seems to be like this is pretty ambitious kind of shit. You know what I mean?
It is.
And this is like above what I like. I don't know. They're biting off a lot here. Like, this is more than I would trust Blizzard to do. You know?
Yeah.
And I think having your shit drop, your items drop and be lootable, that's pretty fucking. That's pretty hardcore. Like, I don't know. Like, that's pretty cool.
Well, that might only happen if you are corrupted. And it might not even happen normally. Like, I'm not a big fan. The thing is that I've never liked games that punish you for deaths too much, because I feel like it makes me not want to take risks in the game. And like Path of Exile, I don't like losing experience. I didn't like losing experience in BDO. I've just never liked it because it feels like I'm like I want to go and try something or do something, but I don't want to because there's like a thing that I can lose for it, and it's like just time, you know. And I guess like some people like that, other people don't. But for me personally, it's always just kind of killed my enjoyment of games like this. But it just depends on like what that really is and like how you lose experience and what it is, you know. Software casual, yeah. Well, I enjoy that more, right? And I think that if they make it to where you always lose your gear, that could be bad. But if it's only if you're corrupted you lose your gear, that'd be all right.
I mean, that's
what I'm kind of expecting. Only corrupted drops gear. Yeah, I think so. Only drop gear whenever you're heavily corrupted. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I hope there's not a lot of lag.
To bring risk-less reward
I don't want
gameplay,
to, like, when
due
this
to
game
storage
comes
being
out,
localized.
I don't want there to be like a shitload of lag. And I think one thing that WoW has above every other game out there, is how fluid it is in its combat. Like, nothing even comes close to how fluid WoW is.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty important.
It's probably one of the best things about the game, and I agree with you. I think that's probably the biggest strength that it has is the fluidity of the combat. Like BDO is very good.
Wait, why are they question marking that?
Because you said something positive about WoW. Like there's no logic behind it. I mean, it's very true. WoW does have extremely fluid and clean gameplay. Like it's just, yeah, it does.
To each node and different areas of the map having easier or harder access to certain resources, players will need to transport goods between nodes via caravans. When a caravan is spawned, it will create a moving open world PvP zone. When players approach the caravan, they'll be given 3 options: attack, defend, or ignore. Caravans can transport goods from more than one player at a time, and I can imagine this system alone will bring about the existence of mercenary guilds who attack caravans or defend them when paid by other players. Castle Sieges will be a monthly event in which guilds can fight in a 250 vs 250 battle to take control of one of the 5 castles in the world. Node Sieges are different to Castle Sieges.
Yo, that's fucking badass.
No way.
250 people? Like,
no way.
Man.
There's
like that's
what is that? That's like fucking 800 people in one area. That's that'll never happen. There's no way you can even program something like that today.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is with WoW, I mean, imagine WoW having that. Like if WoW had something like that, I think the servers would literally catch on fire. Like they would just fucking blow up in like a puff of smoke, man. It would not happen, man. Jesus, dude. Okay, let me go down and look at the rest of this.
And are the catalyst for change in the world.
Yeah, but they have like a
node
dilation
sieges can
thing,
last
right?
up to 2 hours. If a node is successfully defended, it can't be attacked for a certain period of time in relation to the level of that node. A village, for example, can't be attacked for another 20 days, whilst a metropolis cannot be attacked for 50 days if successfully defended.
Yeah.
Additionally, once a node siege is declared, there's a period of time where many services in the node are shut down in preparation for war. For a village siege, there's 2 days notice, and for metropolis, there's 5 days notice. These node sieges can only be declared within a certain period of the server's prime time to give everyone a chance to attend.
Yeah.
If a node siege is successful, the node is reset to 0, and players with resources stored in that node will lose some of those resources.
I really like this, actually. Like, I want to go back. I just want to look at a couple of pictures here. Like, you've got the trebuchets right there. Like, this is fucking cool. And I like it being on like a certain time rather than it just being like any time, because like this is what would happen sometimes in like other games is like people would just attack while you were asleep, and it's like it's not like it's realistic, you know, like, oh, you just kill them and attack them while they're asleep, but it's not good gameplay. Like, it's just not. It's much cooler to have like a fucking, like, imagine fucking 2 generals. They ride out and they have like their armies, and they ride out and they're on their horses with like a couple of their emissaries and, like, you know, their fucking right-hand man, and they're like, okay, at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we begin the battle. And then they go back, and then they have the battle the next day. Like, that's way fucking cooler than just like this random fucking shit, you know? You don't sleep? Yeah, like Lord of the Rings 2 Towers, exactly, man. This is awesome. Yeah, we have to start till after school, because everybody in our class, everybody in our guild, they're in middle school, and they have to wait, right? Then I kid, seriously? No, it's about making a game good. And things that are realistic don't necessarily make games good. And I think that whenever you have a question of should we make the game more realistic or better, the answer is almost always better. You always just make the game better, because it's not realistic. It's a video game, and the game needs to be better more than it needs to be realistic.
In preparation for war. For a village siege there's 2 days notice, and for Metropolis there's 5 days notice. These node sieges can only be declared within a certain period of the server's prime time to give everyone a chance to attend.
6 PM
if a node
only.
siege is successful, the node is reset to 0, and players with resources stored in that node will lose some of those resources, and real space
cool
player
too.
housing will also be destroyed.
That is really cool.
Guild wars are another separate PvP system in Ashes of Creation, which basically allows guilds to declare war on each other and receive certain objectives to meet a victory condition. This system isn't fully fleshed out as of making this video, but it seems like a more in-depth version of what Black Desert Online currently has, with objective-based components mixed into it too. Guilds can be at war against multiple other guilds at the same time, and guild wars operate outside of the game's corruption PvP flagging system. I think duels, battlegrounds and arenas are fairly self-explanatory features that Ashes of Creation will have that we all like to see in MMOs.
I think that's kind of what everybody would want to see. I mean, PvP, the thing is, Chris wants to talk. Yeah, he messaged me. Steven, I don't know if I said Chris. I was thinking about fucking Path of Exile. Yeah, Steven said he'd be willing to actually come in Discord and talk about the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell him to message me. I'll bring him in right now.
Okay, well, he messaged me on Twitter, so I'll have to get...
yeah, because you're more famous and... Yeah, I get it.
We're going to finish the video first, though.
But overall, when it comes to the PvP content this game will have, it sounds like everything I've ever wanted in an MMO, from the risk versus reward of the caravan system, to node sieges being the catalyst for change in the world, to the prestige of your guild owning one of the 5 castles on the server.
That's fucking
It seems
cool.
like this game has PvP content for everyone from casual to hardcore and everything in between.
Yeah. The PvP content is really important because I think that a lot of people play MMOs to where they can like lord their gear over other people. You know, it's like the old fucking the thing I always say, like, okay, you get a really good item in WoW and then you take it into a BG and you beat the shit out of people with it.
Yep.
Like, that's just what people do. And making sure you have like that PvP feature, I think having PvP in MMOs makes the MMO really feel alive, because PvE content, it's like, the MMO is where you interact with other people, and I think that interaction just kind of goes from being like 2-dimensional to being like fucking 4-dimensional whenever you go from interacting directly with like NPCs, and then you go interacting directly with players. And so I really think this is a good decision, and I'm glad that they're emphasizing both points.
PvE content will play a massive role in Ashes of Creation and features content in the form of quests, open world dungeons, instanced dungeons, open world raids, instanced raids, world bosses and monster coin events, as well as all the activities related to the growth of nodes. PvE dungeon and raid content in Ashes will be designed for group sizes of 8, 16 and 40 players. This game will feature...
I wonder, now that I know I'm going to talk to him, I'm going to write down a few questions here.
40? Hey, I like that number.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm saying like 40. So I'm asking, one thing I want to ask is that if the different sizes, are you doing the same dungeon with 8 people and 16 people than you're doing with 40? Is it just scaled up, or is it something different? Because I hope it's something different.
And is there different
both
loot?
open world dungeons and raids, as well as instanced dungeons and raids, with 80% of them being open worlds and 20% of them being instanced. There will be no group finder in this game, so you...
That's perfect, by the way. I think you need instanced content for it to actually be challenging, but the best content, I think, is open world content, like world bosses and shit like that in Classic WoW. Like, that's really fun. No group finder? Oh, shit!
Wait, what? You have to fucking talk to other people to make groups?
What the fuck, dude?
This game's it's dead
Yeah,
in the water.
dude.
Dead in the water. No, okay. if you don't have a group finder, you don't have a game. You understand?
I don't know. I mean, ask the fucking retail Andes, fucking those people on the general forums. That's what they're gonna think, man. This is really good. I think so. Open world, like the problem, and actually, I'm gonna ask about this too, about open world content difficulty. Because you can almost always overpower bosses with more people, but you do have instances where you can't do that, like Emerus, for example, in Classic WoW, because the dot that he puts on everybody is just so powerful, and you have to not kill him fast. But there are other ones that you can do it. So it's really interesting. Okay, let me see here. It's open dungeons. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of curious about.
You'll need to join guilds and find party members via social interaction if you want to partake in a lot of PvE content.
Yeah.
The way open world dungeons and raids will work is that they increase in difficulty the deeper you venture inside. At the entrance you might be fighting weaker, lower level mobs with fewer mechanics, but as you get deeper into the dungeon you'll fight tougher enemies with more mechanics and better loot.
That's crazy.
Additionally, something you need to bear in mind is that all of the PvE content that's available in Ashes depends on the location of the nodes that the community decides to develop.
That's just like Wintergrasp. That was fucking cool back in the day whenever they did that. Yeah, I like this a lot. This is awesome. This looks incredible. Yeah, this is actually good. Ask about loot. I already wrote that down, man.
This is cool, but you need to make sure that people have a reason to keep going back to that. You know what I mean? Because otherwise,
replayability.
Like, you might be able to get pretty far on your own. But if other people aren't coming in to help you, or the content's dead, then I mean you're not going to be able to do it. You're just going to be stuck there, fucking your own ass.
Yeah, this is that is true. You don't want to be fucking your own ass. That's going to be boring, and will not. I mean, okay, I'll just keep going.
Server may have access to completely different raids and dungeons to another server purely because their nodes developed differently in different locations. So unlike other MMORPGs, the endgame PvE content really isn't a linear progression. It can't be a linear progression because different raids and dungeons will be locked or unlocked depending on where nodes are developed and what stage they're at. So in a way it could also be in a PvE player's best interest to participate in a PvP node siege to reset the node that unlocks a certain raid, so that another node can then be developed which unlocks a different raid. A fun, unique piece of PvE.
That's what it's fucking about right there. See, this is the one thing, dude. Yeah, the war effort. That kind of shit matters so much to me. Like, I love the idea of being able to go and do PvP and PvE and have them feed into each other, because it makes it feel like it's less of a game and more of a world, where like you're partaking and you're part of a world. And I know obviously, like I said before, like you don't want it to be realistic over being a good game, but I think that can make it a good game. And there are some people that don't like that, and they like kind of the more on rails fun. But I think in good MMOs, the idea of escapism and like putting yourselves in the shoes of another person in like the world is important, and the less like rails you have for that, the more real it feels.
This is risky.
How's that?
It's risky because, like, while I agree that that should happen, you're also gonna have people that just straight up won't play the game completely if they have to do any sort of PvP at all. Like, PvPers will begrudgingly engage in PvE because it's not that big of a deal to them, I think.
Yeah, they make go ahead.
People who only PvE they will absolutely abstain from doing any PvP at all because they just get like, I mean they're just like, I don't know, they just like shrivel up, become little pussies, and they just don't like, they won't touch the other side of the game.
This is remember the Mists of Pandaria, the cloak.
Yeah.
There were people that would not get their Mists of Pandaria legendary cloak because they had to complete wins. They had to get 2 wins in the new battlegrounds. And they said, you know what, Blizzard? You can't make me do PvP. I will not get my legendary cloak because I don't PvP. I don't do that. I think that really, like, you're going to have, the instance is probably going to be, you will be incentivized to do it and be part of it, but you won't necessarily have to do it. I think it'll be a lot like in Classic WoW on a PvP server, where, like, if you're doing a world boss, sometimes you have to PvP against the other faction, but if you don't want to do that and you want to prioritize just fighting the dragon yourself, you can do that too. And there's much less PvP involved in that way. And so I think that's okay. It just depends on, like, how much you individually, like, are required, I guess, to participate.
That I think a lot of people will enjoy in Ashes is its monster coin system. This is an event that either spawns randomly or following the advancement of a node, in which a horde of NPC monsters will spawn and attack the node. During this time, players can use an item called a monster coin, which they can receive as a rare drop in game, to turn into a monster and assist the NPCs in attacking the node against other players.
What the fuck?
During a monster coin event, the node can't be destroyed, but buildings, services, and NPCs can be disabled for a period of time. Quests in Ashes of Creation are divided up into 3 categories: events, tasks, and narrative quests.
That's cool.
Events are things that happen in Ashes as a result of the development of the world. Successfully completing an event will have positive consequences such as buffs, and failing events will have negative consequences such as natural disasters or node services being unavailable for a period of time. Tasks.
So if you fuck up the node, then nobody gets to do it.
Oh no.
That's scary, dude. That is scary. It's like reactionary stuff like that. That's actually pretty cool.
Are quests without excessive amounts of text and story around them, such as collect X resources to help build a blacksmith for the node. And narrative quests are more traditional story quests that can be personal to your class, race, or the region of the world you're in.
That's cool.
With some of these story arcs being locked behind further development of the nodes.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
If I was a role player, Ashes of Creation is without a doubt the MMORPG I'd be looking forward to the most. This game's being designed with so many great RP features to really add that extra level of immersion. First, let's talk about the extensive player housing system. This game will have 3 types of player housing: instanced apartments, real space open world freeholds, and static housing within nodes. Each of these 3 types of player housing become available once a node reaches village stage or higher. Instanced apartments will become available in a node if a mayor decides to construct apartment buildings within an empty plot.
So this is like, if I'm the mayor, I can decide to have you guys live with me or not. That's basically it. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like, that's actually crazy.
Wait, can you be a landlord in this game?
I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
landlords are fucking chads,
and
man.
then if they don't pay it, you just place a bounty on them, and then you kill them. You get their stuff, man. You get that fucking money, dude. Yeah, that's actually crazy. I want to see how big are servers. Are they capped, etc. Okay, because that's one thing I'm curious about. So if you have player housing that's out in the world and there's a fixed amount of nodes, then the server size has to be a certain size in order to accommodate that, or it's going to be a situation where, like, nobody fucking has a house except for, like, these 3 dudes that don't have jobs and play the game all day. So that's what I'm kind of curious about. I guess it might be in the video, though. You're right.
This will work similar to the housing system in BDO, where you approach an apartment door and you've got a list of options for whose apartment you want to visit. Static housing within nodes are real space player housing that players can buy that will be visible to everyone. You'll be able to decorate the front of your house with yard ornaments, seamlessly enter and exit, and see your house grow from a small cottage to a mansion as the node levels up. Freeholds are large real space player housing plots that can be situated within the zone of influence of a node, but not actually inside the node. Think of static housing as buying a townhouse that grows in size over time with the node, but freeholds as owning a set size plot of land in the countryside. Freeholds are roughly half an acre in size, and due to limited space in the world, players can only own one of these per account, whereas apartments and in-node housing are limited to 1 per server. There's many building buildings you'll be able to place on your freehold, such as a blacksmith, stables, and other stuff related to crafting, role-playing, and other life skill-related content players might want to partake in. Each of these 3 forms of player housing will allow players to decorate them with furniture, some of which is functional, others just cosmetic, and when a node's destroyed, players will lose their housing. However, a template will be mailed to them so they can quickly load the layout of their housing hassle-free when they eventually find a new home.
Oh, that's actually really cool. And look at that, there's like anteaters that you can ride on. That's where, dude, that's the big content right there, is the fucking anteaters. Is multi-boxing allowed? That's like kind of a small thing. I don't know how the game's gonna work, so it's hard really to say. Yeah, this is real schnozzers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is actually really cool. I like that a lot.
Can you build castles?
Okay, I'll put that in there. Okay.
As with every good roleplay MMO, Ashes of Creation will feature a wide range of races.
Yeah.
Currently the game is planning on 9 playable races for launch, each of which have different cultures, which will be reflected in the appearance of nodes that they contribute to the most. You've got 2 different variations of humans, dwarves, elves, orcs, and a race called the Tulnar, which live underground.
Let me actually
Different
look at that
races will
again.
have called the Tulnar.
Oops. So you've got the Kalar, those are like the people, right? The humans. And then the Dunir are the dwarves, and then the Naikua are the elven dwarves. Dude, which one would you be? I think I want to be the guy in the middle with the helmet on with the big axe.
Empyrean.
Empyrean?
Yes.
They're so small. He's got like a...
Angels.
Imperial pride and culture. Though not as numerous as the Kalar, the Empyreans are a force to be reckoned with. Elite military forces and a highly structured government.
Oh my god, that sounds like heaven.
Okay, dude. Alright. Yeah, maybe we go with that. That'd be alright.
The Tulnar, which live underground. Different races will have different racial abilities, and each race will have different base stats. However, there will be no gender lock for any of the races, and every race can play as every class.
That's awesome.
Other nice RP features the game will have include an extensive emote system with interactable furniture, the ability to lean against scenery, sit on benches, and dance with other players. You'll be able to play parlor games with other players inside of taverns, some being dice games, others involving cards. You'll be
dice games. Oh shit, dude. Oh shit, dude.
I got a question. Question.
Okay.
For you to write down.
I have it though. Notepad open.
Can you spit on other players, or slap them, or spank them, or fart on them?
I just added or spank them. Okay, that's good. So you have like actual tavern areas. This is pretty cool.
Able to join different types of social organizations in the game, such as the Scholars Academy, Thieves Guild, or Traders Company, and there'll also be a marriage mechanic in the game that may unlock special quests and further functionality with player housing.
What, dude? What, dude? So you get married and you go on a quest together? Bro, that's some nerd shit. I love it. That's some straight up fucking nerd shit. That's great. Is there a release date for this? No, not yet. It sounds like it's shaping up to be the spreadsheet, the video game. Everything will eventually be taken down to a spreadsheet if it's not rebalanced constantly. It's like WoW Alliance versus Horde Race Wars, big free for all. I'm not sure yet.
Overall, from a roleplay perspective, it seems as though there's going to be more than enough choices and customization in Ashes of Creation, that each player's journey in this game will be completely unique, and it will also have all the immersive social elements that can help bring people together in an MMO.
It's a unicorn. Oh,
Professions and life skills in Ashes of Creation are referred to as artisan classes. These are split into 3 different trees: gathering, processing, and crafting. Gathering professions consist of fishing, herbalism, lumberjacking, mining, and animal taming. Processing professions...
Wait a second, I want to listen to that again. I wasn't paying attention.
Split into 3 different trees: gathering, processing, and crafting.
Gathering, processing, and crafting. Oh, okay, so then you're mining the raw materials. So, okay, this is basically like, imagine if you had like mining. So I think this is what it'll be like, right? Is like you have like mining, and you know how like with mining, you get the ore, and then you also smelt the ore? Well, imagine if smelting the ore was processing, and then blacksmithing was fucking doing that one, right? That's cool. The apple represent temptation? Yeah, like at the end of MMO? We know? Okay, alright, well that makes sense to me at least. No shit? Well, listen, guys, there's some people probably didn't know that.
Gathering professions consist of fishing, herbalism, lumberjacking, mining, and
taming. So your gathering professions, you can fish, and you can also tame beasts.
Oh.
I think I wanna be lumberjacking. I wanna just cut down trees, man. I used to love, like in Wards of Draenor, they had like that lumberjack thing that you could get, like the lumber mill. I used to love cutting down trees. It felt so good.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It would feel, dude, remember back when you'd see a tree and like Nagrand, it'd be like a level 3 tree, and you'd see the fucking thing, the little, on your cursor change, and you're like, oh, dude. And you go over there and you kill that tree. Oh my god, you cut that fucker down.
So good.
That was one good part of it, I'll say that.
WoD was so good. The entire expansion was so good.
Okay, alright, let's move on.
Animal taming. Processing professions
Fishing.
basically refine raw material via the use of certain freehold.
Oh, bro, I gotta ask about krakens. I gotta ask about krakens, man.
The rum?
Like, no, man. No, fucking not that shit. The real ones. The real krakens from back in the day. Like, you go out, like, are there sea missions where you go sail out and you have to go on a fucking expedition and you have to go, like, fucking 15 miles off of the coast, and there's, like, a giant fucking squid that you have to blow up with a lightning spear with cannons and shit.
You might as well just put Boob Slider on there too while you're at it.
Yeah, I bet that's one thing they want to see.
Buildings, such as forges to process ore into bars, lumberyards processing logs to planks, and so on. Crafting professions consist of alchemy, armor smithing, blacksmithing, carpentry, cooking, jewel crafting, scribing, shipbuilding, siege weapon
Holy
building.
Shit, that's a lot, dude.
What the fuck? So what's the difference though between, like, so you have armor smithing, blacksmithing, and weaponsmithing? Is blacksmithing just like making hooves for horses and shit? Like, what does blacksmithing encapsulate?
Shipbuilding?
Shipbuilding, dude. Utility stuff? Yeah, like tools and shit. Yeah. Oh, so blacksmithing, you're making the tools for weaponsmithing and armor smithing. Maybe you're right.
Oh my god.
Shipbuilding, dude. Oh my god, dude. I'm gonna build Noah's Ark. This is crazy. Look at this, man.
This is a bit much, man.
This is a lot. It certainly is a lot.
I don't know.
It's a lot.
Smithing. In this game, each character will only be able to truly master one profession. You'll be unable to master multiple. You'll still be able to progress with multiple professions, but not to the extent of mastery.
That's cool.
This is to create the need for community interaction and
Ooh.
create a sense of identity.
Ooh.
Crafting in Ashes of Creation is also being designed so that it won't become irrelevant like in other MMOs. Crafted gear will be on par with the highest tier drops from raid bosses, and due to
That's going to be really hard to balance. That is going to be really, really hard to balance. Because, like, how do you have crafted gear that's as good as the gear that's, like, from raid bosses and stuff? It's like, because that's really, really hard. I mean, I'd like to see that happen. I mean, they did that with Vanilla WoW. And the way they did it with Vanilla WoW is you only had, like, 2 pieces you could craft. And that was the solution. So you couldn't make a full... Imagine if you could make a full set of gear that was effectively Lionheart helms. It'd be fucking ridiculous. So, I don't know. It's different materials. Yeah, that's... Yeah, that's actually a good thing. Just a second. Good as... Crafted gear is good as... Okay.
being limited to mastery of only one artisan class, guilds will have to organize multiple people to meet their crafting and gathering needs to initiate sieges, complete projects, and contribute to the node. Personally, the profession I'm most excited for is animal husbandry, as you'll be able to breed different animals together to create some really weird and wonderful mounts.
I'm not about that Pokemon shit, man. I want to build my motherfucking... Yeah, wait, breed them together?
Husbandry? You can marry your fucking animals?
Well, that's what they said, isn't it? I mean, yeah, you can do that if you want. I mean, you can get a tiger panda mount. Even that kind of a mount. That's crazy.
The class system in Ashes of Creation is quite interesting and leads to a lot of variety. First, you'll start out by picking a primary class archetype between Bard, Cleric, Fighter, Mage, Ranger, Rogue, Summoner, and Tank.
Okay.
Eventually, as you progress with your primary class, you'll get to choose a secondary class out of the same 8 options I previously mentioned. So choosing to be a Mage, then Fighter for example, would give you the overall class of Battle Mage. With this system, there's a possibility of 64 different class combinations, which are...
Okay, alright.
Oh, is it on there? Red Paladin! Red Paladin! There's Paladin. Where's Ret Paladin? Do you see Ret Paladin anywhere?
High Sword, Fighter, and Cleric.
Oh, Templar! Templar! Fighter and Cleric.
Oh, shit.
Yes! Oh, fuck yeah, baby!
Oh, dude. Okay, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude! Templar, that's me!
All right, let's see.
That's me.
Yeah, we know, dude. All right, so what would I even be, man? Let me see. I think I'd want to get. I'd be like Fighter and Tank. Be the Dreadnought. That's fucking badass, dude. That's fucking cool. Okay, what about you could be a Knight? That's pretty cool too. I don't know. I'd want to be. Like, I'm obviously gonna go Fighter or Tank. I mean, there's no way I play anything else besides that. Let's see. Yeah, Fighter or yeah, one of the two. Necromancer? Wait, where's Necromancer? Oh shit. Okay. Alright, dude. Alright, wait, no, that's not Necromancer. That's Shadowmancer. Where's Necromancer? Oh, Summoner and Cleric. Oh shit. Wow, dude. Wow, dude. Okay, that's cool.
Displayed on screen now. Ashes of Creation will be designed around the Trinity system of tank, healer, and DPS.
I'm glad about that. I don't want to see people reinvent the fucking wheel. Like, I hate that shit.
Class's primary.
Like, just don't reinvent the wheel. Just do what works, and that's fine, okay?
Role. However, with some effort you will be able to change your secondary role. Weapons and armor will not be class locked, but some classes will obviously be more efficient with certain types of armor and weapons.
That makes sense.
And when it comes to the game's combat system, it will use a tab target action combat hybrid system.
That's
the way
ideal.
this system will work is that each class will have 2 categories of skills: tab target skills and action combat style skills. Players can choose to have up to 75% of either tab targeting abilities or 75% action combat abilities, but not 100% either way.
Okay.
Personally, the way I'd imagine this system will play out will be something close to Guild Wars 2 or Arcade. However, the action combat side of this combat system is still in development as of making this video, so it's hard to say how the complete system will actually feel.
That's good, because like this makes sense. Like for spells, for example, it's really hard to get like fireball and like castable spells to work without like fucking locking onto a target, because like they can just move out of it, especially if they're farther away from you, unless the ability locks onto somebody. So I think that makes sense. And then having other like, you know, AoE abilities, it's kind of like the difference between like, for example, like Arcane Orb that you can shoot out as an Arcane Mage versus like Arcane Blast or something like that. And this is the map here. What do you think of the map?
I think it's huge. I think.
It seems quite large, yeah.
When starting out in Ashes of Creation, you'll first make your character, choose your primary class, then you'll be given the choice to spawn at one of 4 divine gateways in the world. Each race does have their own starter zone and starter quests,
That's cool.
but they won't be super mandatory to do, more of a recommendation. There's nothing stopping you as an elf spawning in the dwarven starting area to level with your friend. The world size in Ashes is planned to be truly massive, approximately 480 square kilometers in size, including both water and land content, as well as a diverse range of biomes ranging from deserts, swamps, plains, forests.
Kilometers? I don't know, like 420 or something? I have no idea.
I mean, that means nothing to me. I don't, like...
Yeah, I don't know how big that is.
Like, how the fuck what is that? Like, give me miles.
Well, wait, that doesn't mean anything either, because we don't know, like, how fast you can travel. Like, I don't know how big that is, period. I have no fucking idea. You have the internet? No, we need it. Yeah, we need it converted to freedom units.
Snowy mountains, tropical islands, and everything in between. This game will be fully open world and also features underground zones known as the Underrealm. Ashes of Creation will feature an in-game viewable world map, however starting out much of it will be covered in a fog of war until areas have been explored and uncovered. Additionally, there will be some zones in the world that will experience all 4 seasons, which will bring about their own events, buffs, debuffs, and farming challenges. Seasons will rotate once each week, with a full 4-season rotation passing by every 4 weeks. When it comes,
do you think that's too fast? 4 seasons every.
Yeah, that's way too fast.
I feel like that's too fast. Like I think it'd be more like 1 month for each season or something like that would be better. That's like my opinion, right? In my opinion, it's perfect. Yeah, I don't know. 1 month per season makes sense to me. But overall, I do like the changing seasons. Like BDO had like a night and day system where like at night the mobs like did more damage and they attacked faster and they gave more experience. But the day and night system, like the cycle was only like 4 or 5 hours or something like that. And I kind of preferred that. Not 4 weeks, just for a month. 4 weeks is a month. No. Can you do it?
So 1 season would be a month, guys, right? And then so like July would be winter, and then August, would be summer. You understand?
Does July come after August? So basically, there's going to be 4 seasons. Where's spring? What do you mean? Like, I do like the idea of, like, I kind of like the idea of the zones reflecting real life, but I don't know how realistic that is to do. And, like, if that's a good idea or not a good idea. It's, like, it's, like, imagine if, like, during the winter, for example, and like, it might be too long. Okay, well, let me just explain why I think it could be cool, and I'm not even saying that I agree with this or I think it's a good idea, but this is just a cool element to it. Is that imagine if you know that like in winter, it's going to be a lot harder to like harvest certain herbs, and then during the summer and like the spring, you stock up on those herbs a lot, and then you save them for the winter, and then you can sell them then. I feel like there is like an element of realism to that that's fulfilling and compelling and cool. So if it happens regularly all the time, then you don't really have that same type of playing around it. So there are a lot of really good things about doing a season cycle that matches the real life season cycle, but there are also bad things too, where players get tired of seeing winter all the time, but they get tired of seeing summer all the time. So it's a weird problem to solve.
When it comes to the leveling, the max level will be 50, and it will take roughly 45 days of playing 4 to 6 hours per day for the average player to level from 1 to...
Holy shit!
That's a lot of fucking leveling, dude.
Holy shit!
What's 45 times 6?
460.
That's 460 days, man.
That is fucking insane, man. 270. True. So, wow. 45 days to max level, 4 to 6 hours per day. Oh, I wonder if they have rested experience. Let me ask about that. Rested experience. And then, okay, there we go. All right, that's good. Yeah, that's a long time. I like this. I think leveling taking a long time is very healthy for an MMO because leveling is the most on-rails experience that players have. And the longer that players spend leveling, the more time they have to understand what the end game is that's waiting for them. And I think one of the problems that WoW has right now in like retail WoW is that players hit the end game immediately and they didn't spend the 60 or so levels or 70 or so levels that they spent in BC or vanilla getting ready or being prepared to actually play that end game. They just hit the end game and then all of this stuff is open to them. They're completely overwhelmed. They have no idea really how to play the game. So it's really important to make sure that the leveling experience is expansive enough to really teach players the game. And they should remove max level. I disagree with that entirely. I like the idea of finishing a level, of like being done leveling.
50, so definitely more on the hardcore side of things in that regard. Unlike a lot of modern MMOs, flying mounts will be extremely rare in Ashes of Creation, that's achievable only for guild leaders that own one of the game's 5 castles, the mayor of Metropolis nodes, and through legendary limited time dragon eggs that players might obtain from a world boss.
Legendary limited time world boss dragon eggs that you can get a flying mount?
What the hell is going on in this game?
What the fuck, dude? That is fucking bad ass, dude. That is bad fucking ass,
Whoa,
man. I love this.
Look at the text. Maybe 10-ish people can fly per server at once.
Oh my god, dude. So we might have to make two different guilds. So like you get one flying mount, I get another one.
Nobody's gonna join my guild, dude. We're just gonna have to split like our time slots.
Okay, well I guess I'll just have to get the flying mount then. That'll be alright. It'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be okay. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, yeah, you guys are saying you'll join. Like, what do you mean, man? Sounds hella bad. No, it doesn't. Exclusivity creates value. How much do you think you'd give a fuck about a Lamborghini if everybody had one? If you don't have the exclusivity of certain things, then the value of them just doesn't matter. If everybody can get it, then nobody cares about it. The thing is, like, this is one of the things that like WoW has lost over the years, is having things that are exclusive. Now, here's what's probably going to happen, is that as they're going to patch Ashes of Creation over the years after the release, they will probably have a ranking system in PvP. I'll add that. I don't want to take questions through donations because I think that's kind of shady. So if people want to do that, you can send some questions like maybe McConnell or like my mods. And if they think it's a good question, they can send it to me. I don't like taking donation questions, so you just did. I know I'm making an exception for that one, but I'm saying it now just so nobody else feels like that's a reward structure. You know, only streamers can fly. Yeah, of course, dude. Are you doing an interview? Yeah, after I finish this. Ask about voice chat. Everybody uses Discord anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's like they will probably make it to where more people can fly besides 10. Realistically, especially if like the dragon eggs are there all the time and the dragon doesn't die, that you ride around. I guess like mount durability is probably something I could talk about. But like in general, like flying mounts is really interesting.
It's unlikely there will ever be more than 10 players per server with temporary access to flying,
dude.
And when you consider that each server will have a population of between 8 to 10,000 players, seeing them will be really epic. It's also worth mentioning that fast travel will be extremely limited in this game, as the developers want distance to matter. The only form of fast travel that will be possible is if a scientific node reaches the Metropolis stage. At this point, players can construct a building that offers fast travel only to nodes within the Metropolis's zone of influence. But that's pretty much it for my basic explanation of what Ashes of Creation is without going super in-depth on stuff.
I actually really like that. I think that's cool. I like the idea of like not having fast travel everywhere. And I know like obviously it's kind of bad in a way, but I think there's a way to make it good. So like in BDO, you didn't really have a whole lot of fast traveling. And because of that, I was able to, like, your position on the map mattered. And like the actual geography, like you explore the world, you figure out like faster ways to go. It's like whenever you're going from like point A to point B and you realize like, okay, I can take this way down like this path and like avoid this monster and that monster, and you know, my horse can go this way around. Like Shake, thank you very much. The what do you call it, for the 5 subs. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you. Everyone's going super Wildstar in this game. I don't think it's going super Wildstar at all. Like, the game isn't designed to be like super hardcore or anything, and I think that's a mistake that Wildstar made by like designing the game and making it super hardcore like that. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's important to make sure that the game is appealing to everybody, and it seems like that's what they're doing.
Next, I want to talk about why I believe this is the most exciting upcoming MMORPG, and why this game isn't just a pipe dream, rather something many people, including myself, will be testing with no NDA before the end of this year.
There it is. Should you believe
First
the hype?
of all, it goes without saying, after everything I've just explained about the game, it will be the most ambitious fantasy MMORPG ever attempted. The game will truly have something for everyone. It's not just a PvP MMO or a PvE MMO, it's a genuine PvX MMO that has pretty much everything. Usually when a new MMORPG is announced and they talk about their plans when it comes to game design, it's always vague. There's a ton of question marks on many core systems, and it doesn't take long before players can look at the ideas of the developers and straight up say, this is a bad idea, this won't work. New World has been a perfect example of this since the first time I tried the game in 2018 to recently when it announced its delay. When it comes to the game design of Ashes of Creation, it seems to me that almost every aspect of the game has been...
That's a good bird. That's a really good bird. I like that bird. So, 0.1% of people have flying mounts. Exactly. That's why it's good. Should you believe the hype? The thing is, like, I like the fantasy of this game more than New World. I kind of like the idea of like the, you know, 1700s mysticism that like New World is trying to go after. I think that's really cool. But I've always been like a traditional dragons and, you know, demons fucking fantasy kind of guy. You know what I mean? And I like that a lot. And so the theme of this game gets me much more excited than New World. I'll say that for sure. Same. Yeah, there you go. 4-winged bird. That's not 4 wings. Those are his feet.
Clearly thought out, and thanks to years of Q&As between the community and developers, we have a clear blueprint for how this game will actually play out if you care to read it on the Ashes of Creation wiki. When it comes to the core game design systems, there's nothing I'm overly concerned about. Everything seems to make sense and follow a strong design principle of risk versus reward. For me, the only real question mark I have about the game is how fun will the combat be? What does their really 75% action tab hybrid combat system actually play like?
That's one thing that's really important, is like one thing that like these games live and die by is the combat fun? Is the combat good? And if the combat is good, then the game is good. And or not, I mean, that's not really that simple, because the Diablo 3 combat's good, and you know, and so I don't really think that's the case always, but the combat does really matter a lot. It is super important to make sure that your combat is good and fluid, because that's what people do in the game. Like movement. Does your character feel like you're moving it, or does it feel stilted? Like, these types of things are super important in games, and they're so core to the game. And that's like one thing, like McConnell was saying earlier, like WoW, you feel like you're moving your character. And I think that's a really important part of it. Movement is why Final Fantasy sucks. I don't know. I haven't played it before.
It's like, so for me, ESO, when I was playing it, it's like, that's a pretty good game in my opinion, but the combat is just so like, god damn. I did not like the combat in ESO. It's just not good.
Yeah, I know, like Shroud, I talked to him about it, and like he really likes the combat in ESO, and he thinks it's cool. Like me, I just don't like it. You know, like I loved the BDO combat. I thought the BDO combat was fucking amazing. And there's a few other games too that I think do a great job with combat. but the majority of games don't really do that great. And I think, like, for example, let me think of some other games. Like PUBG. I think this is one of the big reasons why, like, Fortnite took off so well, is because the PUBG's movement was so bad. Like PUBG, like, one thing you could say about Fortnite that it's very hard to deny is that Fortnite's movement is extremely good. Like, it is very fluid. It feels like you're actually moving your character. It's responsive. It's not sluggish at all. It's direct, it's clean, and it's very well polished. And that was one of the reasons I think a lot of people moved over to Fortnite from PUBG, is because Fortnite just played a lot better. It matters a lot. It's a huge, huge factor.
I think if they can nail that and just follow the blueprint for this game until completion, it will be a guaranteed success. Ashes of Creation is primarily a privately funded MMORPG made by an MMO fan frustrated by the direction of the genre, who was extremely successful in business earlier in life. Since I first covered this project in 2017, we've seen the studio he created expand to over 100 developers, attracting people from Blizzard, Sony Online Entertainment, Daybreak Games, and more.
Wow.
This year especially, we've seen production for Ashes of Creation ramp up significantly, and in recent live streams we've seen gameplay sessions of many core systems working, such as the mayoral system, early hybrid combat, real-time node development, open world dungeons, a 40-man raid, the caravan PvP system, basic professions, and the purchasing of in-node player housing. What's more impressive is the creative director's commitment to transparency, despite the project still likely being a solid 2 years from completion. Sometime this fall, we've been told that people who have access to the game's Alpha 1 test will be able to stream and make content about the game with no NDA.
Ooh.
And when you consider that Amazon's New World still has a strict NDA, despite previously being 2 months out from its supposed release, to me shows a lot of confidence in a product. Now,
this is like, New World is basically, it's like, imagine, you see how, like, this is all segmented out? New World is like 3 of these segments. Like, that's the entire scope of the game, is like 3 of these segments.
Oh, I got a question for you to write down real quick.
Okay.
How is item optimization going to work for hybrid classes? You know, because, like, in vanilla, as a ret paladin,
yeah,
you agility, strength, intellect, stamina, you need all this different shit, and it's like impossible to get what you really want out of your character. And, you know, I can't speak to, like, you know, like a fucking mage fighter class, like whatever they would want, but, like,
yeah,
I know it personally from, you know, playing a ret, like that shit's, like, it's cool, but I want it to work too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that sounds good versus functions well. And yeah, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll move on past this. This does sound really, really good. Blizzard's gonna be mad at me? No, I think actually, like, a lot of the Blizzard devs want to see other MMOs succeed to an extent, because that's going to give them new ideas to steal from those other MMOs. That's what they do. And so there's no reason for Blizzard to not like that. That'll give them more ideas to take. And like, I'm not going to quit WoW, right? I mean, the thing is, like I play, for example, like, I would play WoW for 8 hours a day, and then I'd play BDO for 10 hours a day, and I still had 6 hours left. So, I mean, there's plenty of time that you can just put to different things.
All of that's not to say that Ashes of Creation hasn't had its problems or drama surrounding its development, because it certainly has. Releasing Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, the Battle Royale testing environment on Steam, caused nothing but confusion to the people that were casually following the project.
Yeah, and I think that was a misstep, because it wasn't really representative of the game. But I remember whenever I saw the Battle Royale, I was actually impressed by the combat, because the original video, the first Ashes of Creation video that I ever saw, I thought to myself, this game sucks. And then whenever I saw the Battle Royale combat, I thought it was much better.
In the past, the community went long periods of time without seeing any tangible gameplay due to an issue where large portions of foundation code had to be rewritten, essentially delaying the game by 1 year. But in 2020, we've really started to see Ashes of Creation come together. Almost every monthly live stream we've been shown new gameplay, we've already had players get into the early Alpha 1 client and talk about their experiences thanks to no verbal NDA, and community perception of the project as a whole has shifted from extremely skeptical to cautiously optimistic. Whilst there's still a long road ahead for Ashes of Creation, I have to say that in the 5+ years I've been a full-time MMORPG YouTuber, this is the only upcoming MMO that I've been able to look at and say to myself, if this game releases, it has a real chance of being the next truly successful MMORPG. Thanks for watching.
Wow.